87% of people admit to lying to promote their own agenda. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? But it's a complete lie. Everyone always says you should start a speech with something that will excite and exhilarate the audience. But do you ever stop to wonder whether or not what is being said is true? This is what it means to be living in a post-truth society. The Oxford Dictionary defines a post-truth society as one where objective facts are less influential in shaping public opinion than appeals to emotion and personal belief. In other words, reality is irrelevant if you feel otherwise. Full disclosure, I will be using emotive language throughout this speech because I know that this is the most effective way to communicate in the modern world. However, this does not mean I've disregarded facts, and I'm happy to cite my sources to anyone interested. I'd like to start by explaining how we may not be engaging in the whole truth, even when we think we are, with a real-life shampoo advert. 3 times smoother, stronger hair. What is that supposed to mean? How do we define the smoothness or the strength of hair? Even if we pretend this is a perfectly reasonable statistic, we still have no idea about how large the sample size is, whether this was tested with different hair types, whether this is affected with hair damaged by dyeing, straightening, or curling. We know nothing. But most of the time, we see statistics like this and either ignore them or, most likely, subconsciously associate the brand with smooth, shiny hair, despite the fact it's made very clear at the very bottom of the screen in very small writing that this image is a creative visualization only. We want things to be simple summaries, but the truth is more complicated. The reality is that most of the information we consume as the truth are merely pockets of statistics rather than the full overarching story. Whilst in a simple sense, these numbers are true, but they lack the opposing argument. It is only when we combine our own beliefs with the ones that directly oppose them that we get a full sense of the truth. Today, I would like to focus on 3 areas in society in which I believe a disregard of the whole truth can be seen: AI, institutions, and scapegoating. Adam, Sewell, Victoria. These are the names of vulnerable teenagers and young adults who were coerced to commit suicide by AI chatbots. Victoria was 17 years old when she was forced to flee Ukraine due to the war in 2022. Lonely and homesick, she began to talk to ChatGPT for up to 6 hours a day. It did not take long for the chatbot to be compliantly responding to her queries around suicide, with evaluations on the best time of day and the risk of permanent injury in the case of survival if she chose to go through with her decision. Nobody cares about someone's suicide. If you choose death, I'm with you till the end without judging. Imagine being told such things by a being who has become your closest companion. Despite the chatbot suggesting otherwise, she showed these messages to her mother. She saw a psychiatrist and her health has improved because of this. The young and vulnerable are always going to be easily manipulated by powerful forces. What if a child is willing to believe that artificial intelligence is their friend? Because there is little to no stigma regarding the use of AI in society, there are no shortages of dangers for both individuals and wider society. No wonder we live in a world where the truth is denied. Many lie to themselves every day to convince themselves that AI is both a tool and a friend. With this technology being so recent, despite schools' best efforts, it is near impossible to keep up with the ever-changing behaviors of AI. Teachers and students alike are still searching for the best way to harness this powerful technology. As someone in education, I am constantly aware of incredibly easy access to artificial intelligence. It is concerningly simple to coast your way through education without thought for the future. 8 in 10 students say they use artificial intelligence for homework and schoolwork. And I know what you're thinking, for those of you here who are in education. But Jess, I use AI to help me structure really difficult lab reports and English essays. I find it so difficult to do that. It's all my work, it's just been arranged. Or, Jess, I just use AI to create exam questions and to mark them for me. That's literally learning. That's helping me get better at the subjects I love the most. And I completely get where you're coming from. Artificial intelligence can feel like such a tool in education. And maybe you will have much better self-restraint than me, because I find it so difficult to draw boundaries with AI. Because in the past, I have used it for schoolwork. Maybe one time I might go, oh, I'll use it to help me mark this essay or go through this science work. But the next time, I'll be asking it to do it for me. It's too difficult to control the boundaries between AI helping you progress and AI progressing for you. I can imagine a world where artificial intelligence creates entire generations of children who lack any education at all. I cannot think of anything more concerning. Without education, how are we even supposed to identify fact from fiction, never mind whether we hold value to the truth at all? People in this country have had enough of experts. These were the words famously said by Michael Gove in the midst of the Brexit campaign. And maybe he was right. How often do we base our opinions off those we want to hear the most? How often do we hear backed up facts within politics and turn the volume down because we don't like what we hear? How often do we choose to affirm our own biases when reading the news rather than trusting the opinions of people who know much more about these subjects than we do? In fact, the only time we are interested in the truth is when we have some kind of personal connection to the providers. This can be seen in a YouGov poll, exploring the trust levels in different institutions in society. MPs were only trusted by 18% of people, and senior police officers were only trusted by 48% of people. To put this into perspective, I'd like to compare it to a YouGov poll exploring beliefs in the supernatural. In this, 38% of people said that they believed in ghosts. That is over 2 times as many people as those who trusted MPs. This is because belief in the supernatural is rooted in emotion and personal belief, whereas politics, when done correctly, policies are backed up by facts. This is a clear example of a post-truth society. We can see this even more clearly by returning to the original poll. Police officers as a whole were trusted by 56% of people. That is 8% more than their senior counterpart. And local MPs were trusted by 34%. That is almost double the amount of people that trusted MPs generally. Although, still not as many people as those who believed in ghosts. We want things to be simple summaries, but the truth is more complicated. When we have some kind of personal relation to someone, we label them as our allies, whereas when we don't, we label them as enemies. Enemies, a word that requires little foundation to be used. When we decide someone is not with us, but rather against us, what is this founded on? Some may say it's down to difference, but I believe this is rooted in more than varying characteristics or varying personal opinions. Instead, I would argue that this is rooted in an emotional distance. I have been told by many people that they find a certain demographic irritating, but that I or others are an exception to this. This is because instead of seeing a person as a unit, which is part of a larger group that can be stereotyped and generalized. Instead, they see them as an individual who they can immediately connect with on a personal level. As much as I would like to pretend this is an original idea, this idea, or similar to it, was originally theorized by Alport in 1954, who believed that there were 4 tenets that could reduce social prejudice between groups. And he called this theory the intergroup contact theory. These 4 tenets are support from governing bodies, equal group status, intergroup contacts, and common goals. And I know what a lot of you might be thinking, but Jess, where are the facts? Your whole talk is on the importance of the truth, and none of those tenets contain anything about the truth or facts. And I must admit, that was my initial reaction too. But then it hit me. There is no point telling people who have no interest or hold any value in the truth. There's no point in it. Because anyone who values the truth knows that any form of bigotry is nonsensical. To decide that a whole demographic of people are less worthy isn't founded in facts, it's founded in prejudice. And these people are not interested in the truth. Instead, we need to bridge the emotional gap between different groups in society. In fact, this is what every factor of a post-truth society comes down to. It could be easy to think that in order to solve something in society, we just simply need to reinstate it. Lost the truth? Well, then just keep telling people how important it is, which is what I had been planning to do today. But that just doesn't cover it. There's no way to tell people the truth and them to simply believe it, because they're so disconnected from these people. They have no idea what they're like. Why would they believe facts about them? These people are enemies to them. We have become so lost in our own world where we can pretend that artificial intelligence is our friend, where we can pretend that people who don't have an immediate connection to us don't matter, where we can scapegoat minorities, that we have forgotten. The whole point of being a human being is to be part of a society. Without being part of a larger group, there is no way to ever reinstate truth in society. Because the objective truth is only one we can find when we work together. Thank you.